Hello, welcome to Biofilm News. My name is Pavel Ryzhov. This is where I break down the recent news from the healthcare, pharmaceutical industry, and life science research. Please subscribe and spread the word. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date. Let's get started. Hello, this is Pavel. Welcome to my channel. So I wanted to say thank you very much for all the nice comments and the feedback that you have provided me. So today is going to be a test video where I'm going to break down an article that I've come across recently, give you a little bit of a background about it, and sort of my goal is to really try and create a platform where I can engage with people and create a conversation between literally everybody. If you're a patient, if you're a life science professional, if you work in healthcare, or if you develop drugs for pharmaceutical companies, no matter who you are, I essentially want to start a conversation and provide you with some bit of information that I've come across that I think you will find useful. So let's get started. The article that I wanted to share with you guys today is titled Pharma Late to Digital Game Rushes to Catch Up. So this article comes from BioPharma Dive. BioPharma Dive is essentially a part of an industry dive platform online which provides people such as myself with access to a number of different articles in form of subscriptions. So for example, I'm subscribed to a weekly digest where I get a number of different articles in the world of pharmaceutical industry, or for example medtech or healthcare, and they really do a great job in terms of breaking down different news topics and for example doing one of those deep dives. And this article was very interesting to me because it deals with sort of recent advances in pharmaceutical industry, specifically that have to do with technology. The technology is a very interesting aspect of our lives these days, and we all can attest to the fact that it advances so rapidly, and pharmaceutical industry is no stranger to that. Obviously, what we have is advances in data acquisition and the amount of data that we generate. As a life scientist myself, I know that the advances in DNA sequencing or a number of other techniques that have come to the forefront of research, basic research, has expanded our amount of data that we generate and that we need to analyze, I'd say almost exponentially. And we continue to develop new tools and technologies that would allow to obtain even more data. If you think about pharmaceutical industry, they have access to these tools and technologies, but not only do they need those, but they also have to consider so many more aspects that go into making a drug and actually giving it to the patient. For example, think about this. You have research and development costs, and you have a process which takes years to accomplish with clinical trials. Then you can have a marketing campaign in terms of the launch of the product, what kind of competitor landscape you have, and so on and so forth, where using all this data is absolutely necessary to advance the company's agenda in regards to providing the best medicines to patients, as well as generating revenue that then can be fed back into the research and development of new medicines. So the article that I've come across is really highlighting the fact that key players in the pharmaceutical industry are hiring what's called chief digital or information officers to strengthen their technology arms of these companies, and to really leverage the fact that now you will have a person who will be in charge of maintaining, implementing, and utilizing the infrastructure that these companies have started to build in a course of the last few years to essentially create a return on investment, because ultimately the companies want to harvest all this data, but in a way that would allow them to ultimately generate profit or cut costs or what have you. But ultimately, I think the good thing for patients is the fact that these hiring decisions, as well as in general implementation of using this technology to bring the costs down, to bring the medicines to a patient much faster, are extremely important. So one of the things that I wanted to highlight here is the chief digital officers that have been hired by these major companies. For example, GlaxoSmithKline, Novartis, Eli Lilly, Pfizer, Merck, and Sanofi. So this just to show that these hiring decisions are relatively new, but I think the efforts to leverage the data and the analytics behind it are have been a part of the strategy of the development of these companies for quite a while. One of the interesting videos that is actually a part of this article comes from CEO of Novartis, where it shows this building of this control tower to track, analyze, and predict the status of their clinical studies. So let me just play it here. It looks absolutely incredible. If you think about it, it almost looks like from a futuristic TV show or a movie where you have this a large collection of data that is being fed into this centralized system, and essentially where people are able to make actionable decisions and leverage this data to hopefully bring better, more efficient medicines to the market faster. And it just gives me hope that what the companies such as Novartis and among many others are trying to do now is to really put the effort on the digital platforms that they have implemented and that they will continue to improve upon in terms of training their algorithms to potentially come up with better drug targets, or cut some costs in terms of clinical trials, or making sure that their drug stays competitive, or all those things. So regardless, I was very curious about this article. I'm going to link it down in the description so you can take a look at it. You can subscribe to this newsletter if you want. So thank you very much for sticking around with me. I really appreciate it. And please subscribe and let me know what you think down in the comment section. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.